Gamers have been highly criticizing Dragon Age the Veilguard based on teasers, trailers, and media first impressions. And while we are relatively close to the release date, there have been a lot of creators now coming forward saying when they initially were given a chance to play the game, they were critical, and suddenly they are not getting review codes for the game, which is definitely a major red flag. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I have to say this all the time. Companies need to take criticism seriously. I know it is hard to hear people criticize something you've dumped hundreds of millions of dollars into. If you're a developer, it's hard to hear somebody criticize your work that you really loved, that you thought was really great, but ultimately, you are not making games for yourselves. You are making games for gamers, for customers. And if you are not creating great content that we want and that we kind of resonate with, you're not going to get any sales, and therefore you're not going to have a job going forward. And these companies love to play games with codes for content creators. Like myself, I almost never get codes. Very rarely do I get codes, and typically it's from AA companies. It's not even from, the Biowares, the EAs, the Ubisofts. Absolutely not, because I am too critical of them. But it should go without saying that companies should allow a wide variety of voices and people with different opinions to talk about their games. And right now in the industry is a major phenomenon of toxic positivity. They do not want to hear anything negative about their products. They do not want to hear it from developers, from customers. They think that they know best, and well, they clearly don't. And now we're hearing that a couple of weeks ago, there were plenty of content creators who got a chance to play the game for several hours, a hands-on first impression, but these people that were not saying, oh my god, it's amazing, it's a 10 out of 10, it's game of the year, were actually not given full review codes. So Wolfheart FPS was the one to kind of kick off this discussion, saying 3 creators, myself included, were a bit more critical than others with our hands-on time with Dragon Age the Veilguard. Not a single one of us will be getting a reviewed code with time to actually give opinions before release. Just thought that I would throw that out there. And please keep in mind, folks, that this does not mean that my more critical opinion is better or more truthful than those who have been more positive. I'm just simply pointing out how marketing works. This also doesn't mean the game will be bad, but it's something to consider. When I hear a company is not allowing critical voices to get a chance to play even more of the game, that is definitely a red flag. Because don't you think that if somebody's only playing a tiny portion of the game and they don't like it, that you would want to get the game in their hands so they can get to the meat and potatoes of it, so they can actually get to the parts that you feel even more confident about? Not every single product is going to start out perfectly. Like, there are plenty of books where the first couple of chapters are only okay because they're setting up for, the twists and the turns, but then you're halfway through, you're going into act 2, and it's absolutely amazing. You'd think that that would be the mentality here, but it never is. I say this all the time. Companies are terrible. Okay, these companies and who they are giving codes to is always so inconsistent. And instead of just simply, being very selective from the get-go, no, they have a big pool initially, and then they whittle it down so there's less and less people, and only the people who are going to say it's a 10 out of 10 will continue to get codes. And that is why we call out journalists within the industry and we point out ethics and journalism issues, because you know for a fact that the Kotakus, the Polygons, the Gamers, they are going to be able to release their reviews. They are going to get codes because we know that they're going to give it amazing scores because they align with Bioware and this team politically. They understand the activists, and we know that this title does have identity politics. We don't know the extent of it, but we know the character creator that the media was highlighting does feature things like a top surgery scar toggle, which is just absurd. That doesn't sit well with people. And We do not know exactly who the other creators are, but Luke Stevens had also put out a tweet saying, I will not be reviewing Dragon Age the Veilguard at launch. Not sure why they just decided to get frugal with digital review codes, but no one-day review from me. This is also another funny thing that's happening, is that companies are using the excuse that they have no more codes to offer. We're not talking about sending content creators a physical item here. We are talking about giving content creators a digital code. You have an infinite amount of digital codes, but it doesn't seem that they're feeling particularly confident in this game's future, judging by the fact that they're bundling it with NVIDIA Ultimate. So you get the game for free if you pay for that service. So to me, that just screams that they're not feeling super good about this. They are already trying to pump up the player numbers. And, if you look at someone like Luke Stevens, he could give them a lot of press. I mean, he has over 560,000 subscribers on YouTube. You would think that they would view that as a golden marketing opportunity. It's like when I stream games that are made by companies like Sweet Baby Inc., right? Even though I go into it expecting not to like it, I'm still streaming it, I'm still giving it a chance. There could be a time where I'm playing it and I expected it to be bad and I'm like, oh my God, this is actually really good. And people could line up to buy the game. People could say, wow, you know what? She likes it. Her opinion changed. So did mine. It's free press. And these companies always go off of the mentality that all press is good press, even if it's negative. But maybe they're changing their tune a little bit because they've gotten so obliterated by gamers over the past couple of years. But either way, it just still is not a good look. If I was a company that was releasing a major game like Dragon Age the Veilguard, I would want as many people to be playing it as possible. And like Wolfheart has 220,000 subscribers. So these are significant numbers. And it just all comes across as being very shady. And I bet that when embargoes finally lift, we're going to only see positive reviews. We're only going to be seeing 8s, 9s, or 10s. I highly doubt we're going to be seeing any scores under that. And this is why you cannot trust video game journalists. And I will be streaming this on release day, so you can stop by and you can get my first impressions, my genuine impressions. But this is why you can't trust video game journos, because they constantly praise games that, in my opinion, and your opinions also, do not deserve praise because they're clearly afraid to lose the media access. And when you become even slightly critical, this is what happens. You are not allowed to get codes anymore, even though they gave you hands-on impressions weeks ago, all because you didn't say that you completely loved it. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.